Time for cool change. I know that it's time for.
So here's the Molina stummel. Sorry, here's the Molina stummel, and I'm gonna start taking that off. I put one little streak. Look at that. Look at that fill. This pipe has many. Probably why I got it inexpensively. But I'm going to knock off most of that color right there. Masked off my little ring. I might take a bit of height off the top of that and then re-smooth it to have a little bit wider area to make the transition stand out more. One wipe with 800. One wipe, and I took that off. So I'm going to continue with the 800 to get it down to where I can see all the fiber without any real black stain in it. And then we'll go about restaining it black, sanding it back, and continuing till I get the pop I'm looking for. And then we'll start with the probably purple dye. This is going to be a strange project pipe. Anyway, that's going to be step one. Taking the old color off. Finished product should be purple with a nice popped grain and polished. Alright, here we go. Well, that's one initial going over with actually 800 grit. Look at the fills. Look at these little spot fills. This thing looks like the goddamn surface of the moon. And those grains now. You got a lot of bird's eyes on one side. A little few cloudy sweeps there. A few striations on the other side. No knots that I can detect. Wasn't a bad piece of wood, really. I lightly hit the old good old Molina there. I'm trying to get in focus. Come on, Molina. There you go. Fabbricato in Italia. That's probably way off Italian, but that's how it's looking right now. The initial 800 going over. What's going to happen is the height of that bowl will probably come down about a millimeter or so, and I'm going to fight to keep it in the round. As you can see, it's beginning to drift a little. Or that could be a trick of the light, but anyway, that's going to come down a bit, and this lip here is going to be rounded, very well rounded. And you can't really make that rounding look good with it that tall because the wall is too thin. So I'm going to come down about a millimeter where the wall is ever so slightly thicker, and then I'm going to round it off so that it's almost like a semicircle cross section all the way around radially. I'm going to fade the top, so I'm going to hit probably from about the tip of my thumb there, from there down with black dye again, and soak it good, sand that back, and then when I get it to where I want it, I'm going to hit the whole thing in purple. Purple. So the top will be a lighter shade of purple. It'll look faded along the lip there, and the rest of it should be pretty funky looking. Anyway, I'll keep you informed. I'll bring you up to date on every move. Unfortunately, I don't have a workshop or a place to actually mount my camera to do that, so I'll be back. Welcome back, guys. Well, here I am putting on my gloves, and we're going to attempt the first black staining of the Molina Churchwarden stummel. Now I've hit that with 800, then 1000, then 1200, and I've masked off the Molina made in Italy. You know, that painter's tape doesn't necessarily like to stick to that too good, but I'm just going to avoid it. You know, I'm not going to soak that area with dye if I can get away with it. I hope there won't be too much bleed through over it. I want that little label to remain natural. And I've got my my Phoebing's black leather dye, which I'm going to open up. This is a new bottle. And I'm only going to take that partially off like that there. Well, actually, it gives me no choice. I'm going to have to take it all off. Take it all off. Try to do that without leaking too much. And the adventure begins. The plan, man, is to not get black up around the top of that bowl right there, along that edge. I have rounded it. As you can probably, I hope you can see, I have rounded that out to where I like the curve. I didn't want to take too much height off the bowl, see? So I only took that down about maybe 2 millimeters, if that, to give myself a wider lip to work with, right there. And this was all done with hand sanding. I just used sandpaper to do that because I didn't want to use an aggressive file or anything, because I didn't want to take too much meat off that or make any gouges that I couldn't deal with. So anyway, the plan is to try and keep the dye away from the top lip. And so I'm going to try to attempt it like this. Now I'm committed, or should be. Trying to do it down where you can see it. I'm afraid I don't have a very good stand for my camera. Now the dye is going to get close to the lip, but never going to really touch it, I hope, because I'm going to go for a faded, sort of a volcano top there. Trying to stay away from the Molina. I don't want it to leak under the Molina tape off. I'm sure a little bit might. I'm trying to not hit the tape, because the tape will act as a capillary and draw the dye underneath it. I mean, you know, I could live with that happening a little bit, because that Molina stamp is actually deep enough. The Molina pipe stamp is deep enough to withstand some sand back. So I'm not going to cry too much if some got under there. I sure hope you can see what I'm doing. I have no viewport on the camera from this angle. It's hard to not touch the crown of the pipe while you're doing this. Now I don't care what happens to my plate here, but I do care what happens right here. Now I went across the surface last night of this whole pipe after I got it down to shiny where I wanted it, nice and smooth, and I hit it with a good alcohol solution, not enough to hurt it. I diluted it a bit. I'm going to go back and soak that in good. The idea of this black initial dye is to have something to pop that grain out that I can sand back again. Having made it smooth the first time was really only to control the saturation at the surface. The first time that I sanded this down smooth was not for aesthetic reasons. I also used high grit sandpaper because I did not want to change the shape of the pipe. I didn't want to change the geometry, as they say. And I've managed so far to not hit the lip. I want to get up close, but I don't want to hit it because I'm going to fade that away. This pipe is going to be purple. As you can see, I've stayed away. The purple is going to hit the top, not the black. I'm not looking to pop a whole lot of grain out of the top. And the reason why I'm willing to sacrifice not popping all the figuration there. The reason why I'm sacrificing not popping that out with black dye first is because I don't want to have to sand it so much that I change that nice curve that I've already sanded into it. So anyway, let me lay this down in a place where there is no dye. And that's the initial step of coloring that pipe. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to sand that back, and I will be back with you with the next step. Thanks for watching, guys. Okay, so we let the black stain dry. We, meaning me. And I wanted to see how it would pop the grain. Well, it has brought out features that weren't that visible before. To include the fills. I mean, those are just kind of nasty, but I have to live with them. I can't fill them any better than that with what I have on hand. So the next step is going to be hitting it with color. Now I have purple, I have red, I have mahogany. I was thinking purple. I wanted something crazy. So I might hit that with purple, or I might get a little bit creative, and maybe I might do some fading. Maybe I'll hit the top crown there with the mahogany, or maybe even some red, and then drift it down the side into purple. I think mahogany to purple might be a better choice than red to purple, because red and purple may overlap each other in such a way as to create, well, I mean, you know, they're kind of related, red being in purple. But I don't know, the top might look a little classier in a brownish stain. So I don't know. Anyway, I'll bring you guys in when I go to do the color, and hopefully I'll get a better angle on the camera that time, and you can actually see what I'm doing without having ad space on the back of my right hand. So I will be back with you for the next installment, adding color to the Molina stummel.